2, 1. Hey everybody, this is Victor. I am back for a second case study interview here with Penina. We're going to be talking about how she went from her last failed deal to multiple deals and how she continued just keeping at it and saw success throughout the entire process. How are you doing?
Good, awesome. Good to be here. Thank you, Victor.
I appreciate you being here. I know we did an interview like a couple months ago, so I'm happy that you're here again so we can kind of talk about what's happened because you've had a lot going on, to say the least. You've got a lot going on. That in mind, we can just jump right into it. So, I mean, what happened last time we were on here? We were talking about your deal in New Jersey, that flip that we're talking about. It was like buy it at 120, put in what we thought initially was 70 and sell for like 260. Like what happened with that deal, or like where is that deal now?
Yeah, so initially the numbers looked really good. We went down, we got a bunch of different contract quotes, and then we realized that the cost was going to be 100, not 70. So that was there. There was a septic tank that we weren't sure if that would need to be changed. There were just so many issues and things popping up that it really started to sound like it wasn't a good investment. On another note, also the appraisal came in lower than what we estimated and what brokers in the area told me the value was. So there's just so many red flags that it just sounded like it was better to just put that behind us and move on to another one instead of wasting and investing a lot of money in a deal that didn't look like, it looked like there was so much wrong, so much not running in the favor of the property. So we just figured, yeah, let's, take the losses on this one, move on to better properties, not waste too much time. And also I think for starter flips, you don't want to get into a huge project that you just think a septic and a this and so many different issues that it just sounded better to just go for something a little easier in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. And that's partly on me. What I recommend now for people getting started, like their first flip should be what's called like a simple flip. And that one was, almost everything had to be new. And it was such a huge renovation budget. Like with the adjusted numbers, there still could have been a profit. But if anything went wrong, it would have been wiped out pretty quickly. So I'm glad we passed on that one. I mean, what are your thoughts on that one? Are you like glad you passed on it, or are you glad you went through the experience?
Super glad I passed on it. Right now when I'm talking to people that are sending me deals, don't send me anything with a septic tank. Yeah, and I'm also very into like curbside appeal. And I think that one, like, wasn't sure if like I'm so like, I like to be like attracted to the property personally. And so it was like an okay attraction, but it wasn't like, so there are other deals and there are a lot of deals, and I'm happy that that it didn't go through in that one, honestly. I think that there was just so many red flags, It was a hard decision in the beginning and in the middle, but yeah, count your losses and you move on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the update since then. But I mean, since then you've gotten a lot of deals. And you're doing really well. Let's talk about your New Jersey one first, if you don't mind. It's the Hampshire, right? What do we nickname that
101 one? Hampshire Drive. Yeah. So that one actually was a property that I was attending tax lien auctions. So it's a property that was in the tax lien sale. I contacted the buyer directly, met with him. It took a really long time. I had to negotiate with a few different banks that had mortgages on the property. So that was very eventful. The price kept going up because the longer they stall you, the more the interest goes up. And I was like, this is not okay, because they just kept postponing. Because honestly, the mortgage company didn't want the seller to pay it off. They just wanted to get the property because they saw value in it. So that was actually a very interesting lesson, and just seeing how banks work. And yeah, thank God right now we're at final stages of the construction, working with a really good construction company that I'm really happy to be working with. Yeah, so it seems really good. I think in the end, yeah, it looks like it's moving along. I really like the house. It's a complete gut renovation. Not complete gut. We're not moving any walls or anything, but we're doing everything brand new, new floor, paint, new bathrooms, new kitchen, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, repairing roof and outside, but not doing like a new roof. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how long did that one take to close?
Trying to think of how long I was in communication. I was speaking with the bank for over 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I would say from start communication with the bank, I would say it was like 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one kept
just to get the property. So that's a long time. What?
I remember that one kept dragging on. It just, kept going and going. And I mean, eventually it closed, which is fantastic. But I think that was my biggest piece of advice. I don't know if you remember any of this, but I think that was my biggest piece of advice to you. Like, hey, just keep at it. Sometimes it takes a long time. I've had a deal sometimes where it takes like a year to close, or it takes like 6 months to close, and it sucks. And you, like, while you're going through it, you're like, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? I just prefer to know. But sometimes just drag on like that.
Another important thing to note, if I look back at the amount of communication I did for that property, probably reached out like 20 times. So just getting to the stage of when you're saying time to close, I'm thinking of when I met the seller until it actually closed was like 2.5 months. But before that, I think it was a month and a half maybe of once I found the property, reaching out. So you have to really be persistent. Yeah.
That's a good piece of advice. I didn't know that you reached out that much. So you're on top of that, like calling them.
Calling and yeah. No, because I called the owner and then the owner said, I don't own it anymore. The bank owns it. And I said, no, what are you talking about? It says you're in the thing. And then I called the township and the township said, no, he still owns it. And then I had to call him and he was like, oh, it was the whole, no one knew who owned it. The bank didn't know if they owned it and he didn't know if he owned it. I was like, I'll own it.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that happened. That's new to me, but okay. But it sounds like it was worth it as a deal. I mean, are you comfortable talking about numbers and what those look like?
Sure, of course. Ended up purchasing it for 107, putting in $48,000 into the property. And right now seeing the numbers at 240 is ARV.
Nice. That's awesome.
So it seems good. There are properties in the area that sold for 250, 255. Also around like, it's between like the 230 to 250 range. So that's what I'm saying, 240. Yeah. Let's see what happens. It's not over till we're getting to the end. So that's good. Yeah.
But it sounds like you're almost done with renovations. Like you're just wrapping up here. I mean, we were talking earlier about this, like paint's done, flooring's done. I mean, they're just wrapping up some permits and probably listing in the next couple of weeks, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I have the staging company lined up. I spoke with a broker that seems really good. I'm still in the debate, and I think I'm just going to list it myself for 2 weeks in the beginning and then get to the broker. But I spoke with a really good broker that has they've sold a bunch of stuff in that area. So yeah, I think on that end, I feel like everything's really ready to go.
Cool. Well, very cool. I mean, it seems like a pretty smooth process. Like you got a good deal and that's awesome, but it sounds like it's been pretty smooth all throughout. But
yeah,
once you bought it, once you bought the place.
Yeah, thank God nothing's been, it's been smooth.
Okay, cool. So that's your 101. Yeah, fingers crossed it's not done yet.
It's not over till it's over. Yeah.
So that's your first one. You had one. I mean, we have one we're working on. We partnered on. And for folks listening, that's how I work with people. I partner with them to help them get started. Partner with them on their first deal. Then we do a profit split, so on and so forth. So we have one that we're partnered on. That one was brought to us by a wholesaler. Do you remember any of the numbers or the story on that one?
Yeah, so we're purchasing it for $59,000, right? $59,500, I believe it is.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then we said we're going to be putting in $15,000, 15, 20. I
think we said 25, yeah.
25. Okay, went to 25. Yeah, I need you to remind me the numbers though.
No, you're good. Yeah, so we're buying 59.9. We're going to put in about 25 and sell for 130. So pretty clean. I think that one was paint, flooring, new bathroom, and I mean that's pretty much it. It doesn't need that much. It was in good condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a pretty clean flip. Nothing on that one. I think the only issue we ran into on that one, everything was smooth. We saw the property. Wholesaler was good, easy to work with. No issues there. And then I think the only issue is we just had an issue with the title company, lending company, the hard money company. They didn't communicate properly. Do you remember what happened there?
Yeah, it seemed like the lending company didn't have someone that was really hands-on, or I personally felt like this person hasn't done this for a long time. Maybe they're not sure what they're doing. And then also, yeah, the title company was also, the lending company said they didn't get the documents that were sent so many times, but it was just it seemed like on both sides there was some sort of unprofessionalism. Yeah.
Something was going on. I don't know what was going on, but it's closed.
Something.
Yeah. That's always tough with those two parties. I think that the good takeaway there is you gotta be on top of both parties to make sure they get the stuff done. So it's just, even to like over communicate, like even if you feel like a little bit of a pest, like talking to them every day or talking to them every other day, just to make sure it closes smoothly. Because that one we were supposed to close and it took like an additional 10 days to close, which is crazy, you know?
So is that regular? Because the one in New Jersey also took like, ended up being a week later than it was supposed to close. They kept postponing it.
It's typically supposed to be like same day or maybe latest next day, you know, but it doesn't typically take that long, like an extra week.
Okay.
It shouldn't. Like once you sign, ideally, especially with a motivated seller, like they should walk away with a check. They're like, okay, cool, I'm done. I don't have to wait for it. Well, that's the ideal situation. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that deal. So you got your New Jersey one, you got this one, you got a buy and hold. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, that's exciting. That's also taking a little while. So I do have someone awesome who's basically calling people, like a virtual assistant,
Awesome.
who's calling people. And then when he gets people that can actually sign, then I pay him a commission on that. So that's how I got this deal. I basically downloaded a list, got numbers, and he was calling them. So yeah, so it's a 2-family home in East Orange, New Jersey. Really cute little house. It's vacant. The first floor was like good condition. The second floor is needs renovation, and then there's a third floor, which is basically so it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on the first floor, 2-bedroom, 1-bath on the second floor, and on the third floor there's a studio apartment. The studio can't be considered its own unit because it doesn't have 2 exits. It only has 1 exit. So I'm going to be renting it out as like a 3-bed, 2-bath top floor. And then the bottom one's going to be a 2-bed, 1-bath. So yeah, so right now it's actually also, it's taking a lot longer. So what's going on with this is, so when I signed the contract with the seller, he agreed to a 45-day close, and I was actually planning on paying cash. But then I realized that within 45 days, I could still get a regular mortgage. There's a company that would do it within 45 days. So that's really exciting because then the rate's lower and there's more profit there. So I'm actually doing a traditional mortgage on this property. And it's also been taking time. I don't know why, but it's also been taking longer than expected. But yeah, so I had my contractor come, give me a quote on all the work that needs to be done. Of course, they like wrote every little possible thing that I would need to do. So the quote is significantly more than it needs to be. Victor, I'd love to review it with you and hear your thoughts. Yeah, so, but it's within the range that I thought it was going to be. So purchasing the property for $215,000.
Okay.
The amount of work that I believe needs to really be put in is like 10 to 15.
Okay. Almost turnkey. That's awesome.
Sorry?
It's almost turnkey. That's fantastic.
Yeah. He did give me a quote for $35,000, but it's like a lot of things that like put a number on the house. There's 3 numbers on the house already. Like, why do I like just different things, you know, that aren't really necessary. And then the property is basically $3,200 a month in revenue.
Okay.
So cash flow is over $1,000. So that's amazing.
Nice.
And it's like 16%, which is really good. Based on my calculations of putting aside, I put aside like 15%, which is like 5% for CapEx, 5% for maintenance, and 5% for, you know, anything that can happen. Yeah, so it seems like it's really good. The numbers are good. The seller's getting a little edgy on timing of closing. But the seller still has one thing to do though. The second floor has like a bunch of garbage from the previous tenant. And he has like a lawyer that takes really long to respond. So there is, I think that on his part, he does feel like it's also his fault. So that's really good.
Okay.
But
in your favor, yeah.
Yeah, but between us, I feel like it's more my fault. Not my fault. It's just like you're getting a mortgage. It takes time. They want every little thing. Yeah, we did an appraisal. We did an inspection. Things seem good.
That's good. You got your first buy and hold here. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Takes a long time, and also it's something to note. Like when you deal with hard money lenders, you're putting down significantly less. So the purchase is $215,000. So it's like, okay, I need to put down 25% of that. So I thought it was like $53,000. When I'm looking at the numbers, it's really they're saying the closing is like $70,000. I need to.
Oh, they're not including closing.
Plus, on top of that, I need to put in the cost of the renovation. So I'm looking at it's really going to be like $90,000 of cash that I need. So it's really important for people to understand that it's not just 25%, and to make sure that they're calculating enough money aside. Yeah. I didn't
It's
think
the
it was going to
additional
be 20%.
costs. Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
And with the
Okay, that's
lending
good takeaways.
company, yeah, with the lending company, they would also loan me the construction money, here or not, you
They're not,
know?
that's out of pocket. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's important to note how much money I need to put into this property. Yeah.
hmm No, that's key. But it sounds like it's still a good deal, and that's why I recommend like the pattern, like do a flip, do a rental, do a flip, do a rental. Like you're seeing that yourself. Like your flips can then you can use that as a down payment towards your rentals, and it just becomes an infinite machine. Versus if you do like the rentals first, it's like okay, I've spent all my money. Now we gotta wait. And
Literally, that's what yeah. I think that for now, for me, it makes a lot more sense to be doing fix and flips.
hmm
Maybe 3 to 1, 3 to 1, or you were saying 2 to 1. If it could be
hmm
2 to, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, whatever like ratio makes the most sense, but it's interesting you're going through that. And I mean, another takeaway just talking from you is like real estate gets delays and has delays all the time. So, I mean, you're experiencing, I've experienced that quite a bit. It takes longer, it takes longer than you think.
2 things that I learned is, first of all, you have to move very quickly. It's
hmm
very competitive. If there's a good deal, it can literally bomb. Like someone sends you a good deal, go that day if you can, because you can literally lose it. Once you do get it, it takes longer than you think. So the whole timing thing's a little, because I had 2 other buy and holds that I wanted to do.
hmm
Really excited, really liked it, and I lost both of them.
Mm.
One of them I saw the day of. I told him right away I'm interested. He said, okay, great, I'm leaving it for you. He calls me back 5 minutes later and says, this guy was selling his whole portfolio. He had 15 different properties he was selling. This was the last one of all his properties. And he said, I sold 2 to someone already and they're interested in this one. We have the same team already, so we're just going to do it. So I was like, 5 minutes ago, you told me. And it was a 5-unit, really good, like just a really cute space.
hmm
So no, and literally I did move as fast as I could. I'm just like trying to think like, what could I have done better, But it's just important to move quickly. When it's a good deal, there are other people that are going to find it also,
I think that's really good advice. Like get in quick, and then it might take a long time to close, or it might take, something might get delayed. Okay, no, that's good. I've seen the same.
But calculate it. Don't just get in quick and then you're like, oh shoot.
Oh, it's a bad deal. Yeah, you got to know your numbers. That's the other thing. So you know your numbers ASAP. Okay, that's very cool. So you got you got your New Jersey. You got the one we're working on. We got the buy and hold. You have one in Manhattan. Do you want to talk about that? What happened there?
Yeah, Manhattan. Okay, so this wholesaler was calling me. I have this deal, and it's a little more complicated. It's rent stabilized units in Manhattan, and everyone knows what's going on in Manhattan right now. And he just kept following up, very persistent. And I was like, okay, like this isn't relevant for me. It's so much more money than I can spend right now or whatever. Sitting by my sister, she had like a little birthday thing for me, and then I saw a missed voice note, and she went to the other room, and I was like, whatever, I'll listen to it. And the voice message was, I could show you the property in 30 minutes if you could be there in 30 minutes. My sister lives like literally 30 minutes away. My sister's like, I'm coming right back. I'm bringing my kids. I ran out of the house, ran to the property, called my sister, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I really had to go. Just because he wasn't able to show the property because it was like, there's tenants there and he wasn't able to show it to me. And I wasn't really that interested. I was like, okay, let me go see what's going on, Ended up like, it was an amazing, a really, really good deal. A lot of money. Saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's an amazing opportunity. I should totally like jump on it and try to get investors, and get investors. So I ended up telling him, ended up putting it under contract, sending the money. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to hustle and bustle, get investors. On the investor side, like it was challenging. It's Manhattan, and it's also like pre-election. So people are concerned about investing right now.
Mhm.
And people are concerned about investing in Manhattan when Manhattan's literally been hit really hard, which is the most amazing time to invest in Manhattan, So I was having interest from people, and then I was having interest from people that were saying, I just want to buy this deal from you, wholesale it to me. So I ended up calculating and doing running the numbers and saying, it's better for me to wholesale it to someone as opposed to just purchasing it. And also people were like, I'm super interested. And then they're like, I can't get the money in time, or I'm super interested, but, or like someone committed a certain amount of money. And then I called a week later saying, okay, please wire the money. And then he was like, I changed my mind. So when you're dealing with a lot of money, then you typically have to like, you know, get money from a lot of different people. So that was like, it's a lot going on. So decided to wholesale it. Then got to someone that was like super specialized in the rent controlled area. Like this is what we focus on. Yeah, thank God we signed on the 9th, which is this week. And what's interesting about this property though is, so basically it was a cash offer, so it had to close within a very quick time period. And it's an amazing deal. So I came to an agreement with the person that was buying it, was wholesaling it too, that they have a certain amount of time to do their full due diligence, because this is their specialty and they have to make sure every box is checked. And they weren't able to do that in time. So I said, okay, worst case, I'll buy back from you for the same price. So that's where we're standing. So right now they're still in the due diligence. Spoke to her recently. She said everything seems like it's good so far. So that's what's going on. Yeah.
Great. No, that one was, I think that one took up a lot of your time. It took up a lot of stress too, just because it was it was a big deal, and there's a lot of options you could go through. And I think you really exhausted your like contact list, exhausted your network, just trying to get that deal done.
Yeah. Also, another thing to note about this property was, so I saw it, I spoke to someone I'm very close with, and he was like, let's partner in this. I'll raise the money, you do all the work. Work-wise, I'll do it. There was like so much opportunity in this deal. And literally a day after, the person that I partnered with, who said they were going to like, what? It's not a big deal. I could totally raise money. Blah, blah, blah. A day later, they were like, I'm really worried. I don't think I can raise this money. And then after that, like the second I got that message, I was like, Penina, you have to hustle. You have to do this. And the person actually really dropped the ball after that, like weren't involved at all or anything. So yeah. It's very important to also know who you're partnering with, and just making sure that you're willing to take everything on yourself also. And like the second you see little flags, just jump and start hustling. Yeah. So yeah, I went in like feeling a lot more comfortable, because I was like, oh, I'm doing this with someone. And then boom. When I'm really happy, I discovered that a day later. It was literally the next day I got a message saying I'm concerned. And then I was like, Penina, you have to do everything. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good lesson, like choose your partners wisely. I mean, that's a big thing, because would you have done the deal if that one gentleman or female or whoever like didn't say they could pull through? Like, would you still have done the deal, or you would have passed on it?
Well, now, yeah. Knowing what I know now, yes. God forbid if it wouldn't have worked out, then no, you know, so the risk is significantly higher, you know? Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, it's a good learning, like as we've talked about, like you going from that first deal, the one in New Jersey that fell through because the numbers weren't right, to these ones. I think the biggest takeaway is like just perseverance. Like, hey, yes, it sucks in this moment right now, and you don't always know like a clear picture of the future. But if you keep pushing and keep doing the fundamentals, like making offers, finding deals, like you'll eventually get something, and you'll be surprised. Like I'm surprised in a very positive way. From that deal, from that first New Jersey one to where you are now, it's only been like a couple months. Like how much of a 180 you made, and that's really good. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I actually had another property back then that I was also under contract with that didn't end up going through because I decided not to also. It's important to realize like what is and isn't, you know, and it's fine if it costs you $1,000, $2,000 to do discovery, you know, which is get an appraiser, get an inspection, and then the inspection came back and there was an issue with a septic and foundation and different things. So like there's a cost to getting into this business, and understanding that and saying, okay, now I understand that and it outweighs the other deals, we'll make it up, you know? Yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Anything we missed that you wanted to cover as well? Like anything else that's been going on? That's plenty, don't get me wrong, but.
No, another thing, something for me, like I'm so excited about this and I'm having so much fun. And I have to keep telling myself, like, so I'm continuing to look at deals, you know, and it gets tempting, but like, it's really important not to overwhelm yourself. I don't feel overwhelmed at all right now, but there's a certain amount of money that you have. And like, once you don't have any more money, you can't buy anything else. So right now I'm just telling myself like, Penina, like, remember like the amount of money that you have and like what you're willing to spend on this thing. And like, you know, and just make sure that you're not like extending yourself financially also. So yeah, it's like really hard right now. And like, I have deals that are kind of like doing their own work, and like I want to get into more deals, but I'm just teaching myself to just be disciplined, let the process go. And so, yeah, so I'm looking at deals, and sometimes I'm saying no to good deals, just like, you know, got to stay disciplined. So Victor, I need you to be on top of me because I keep looking at things. But yeah, no, I think at 4 at a time is good. Once, like, I think for me now, 4 is like a good, you know?
Once it slows down, yeah, that you can like pick it up again and start doing it. Yeah, especially because you're going to learn on each one. You don't want to like replicate your mistakes. Like, oh, I'm doing, 10 at a time, but I made the same mistake 10 times. So that's why I recommend like just take it slow, scale it up slowly. Okay. So that's really helpful. That in my, I know I asked you this last time, but would you recommend others work with me?
1,000%. Victor, I'm so happy. I don't even remember how I met you. Oh, I think I do on a Facebook group.
I think
But I think you're so amazing. It's so nice to have someone so knowledgeable. You answer so quickly. You're there. You're like really freaking awesome. Like so blessed to have found you. Thank you so much.
I
Really.
appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Highly recommended. Don't waste any more of your time. You want to work with professionals, talk to Victor. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. You've been doing really well. So I'm proud of your success so far. I'm just curious where you're going to go a year from now, 10 years from now. Final question, then we can slowly wrap it up here. Why should someone listening take action now?
Why not? I think real estate's amazing. It's fun. It gives you financial freedom. It gives you just personal freedom. I think there's like, just get out and do it. Like, there's no reason not to. Yeah. You
Perfect.
won't regret it.
Exactly. Yeah. You're a testament to that. Like, it's going really well for you. And it's
If
better
you
that
keep
you're having
hustling,
fun.
you won't regret it. If you like take that one hit and say bye, then you'll regret it. Just keep swimming. Yeah.
Just keep swimming. That's a good way to put it. Well, sounds good. Hey, appreciate you taking the time again. This has been really good. This is hopefully helpful for everyone listening as well. And yeah, we can just end it there. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Victor. Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.